What have you learned scaling all these different awesome companies? And what are some of the common things that you see that sales teams fuck up?
We have something called the big three. If you can do those three things really well, you're going to be 90% good. I've seen companies that have completely broken sales teams, and I'll come in and literally just fix one of the things in the big three, and their team is performing 50% better.
Give me some more of the sales sniper early days and then what happened next.
Yeah, I just fell in love with business. And this company was called Diamond Heights Events, ended up becoming the top rated DJ company in Seattle within the first year.
When you're having this meteoric rise, what are some of the voices that are coming up for you as you're climbing?
The biggest mindset shift was...
Boom. We are absolutely here with the man himself, Tony Haddad. Welcome to the pod, brother. Can't wait to get into this conversation.
Thank you, Tristan. I'm fucking stoked to be here, man. It's been a long ride of talking to each other on the internet.
Yeah.
And never meeting in person until now.
100%, man. So for those listening, the first ever sales mentorship or sales anything, first ever course I bought was the Sales Sniper Bootcamp. Back in the day, it was $1,000. And the reason that I bought it was because Joel Esther was the top sales rep on an offer that I had just started on. I was doing construction sales at the time, and I found out about remote closing and high ticket sales, and I got placed on the offer. I fought my way in. I had no experience, but I found a way in the door. And then he was crushing it. He was making like $40,000 a month. And I was like, I think I showed up on the sales meeting and I was just asking a bunch of questions. And I was just super curious. And he leaned in and he was like, hey man, like stay after. I want to chat with you. And he was like, you've got that X factor. I can already tell. You need to invest in yourself immediately. I just signed up for this thing called the Sniper Bootcamp. You should do it too. It's $1,000. It changed my life. Yada, yada, yada. And then that's when I met you. I think you were just the host of it or one of the coaches. Walk me through kind of what you were up to at that point.
Yeah, man, bootcamp was a lot of fun. So the way that worked was it had started off. Do you remember the Facebook group called The Closing Code?
So I'm actually not in this high ticket sales Facebook world. And the more and more that I've emerged in the industry and made myself known, everybody's on Facebook. No, I completely skipped that. So I didn't do the Facebook groups.
Okay, interesting. Because that's kind of how everybody found the bootcamp. But yeah, I assumed you were in that world just because that's how we met. But it's weird that there's such a niche part of the internet, which is like the high ticket closing realm. And it sounds so like weird to say, but like it's such a niche group.
Welcome to our
people.
corner.
Yeah, this is our little like cut corner of salespeople that we just live in, where everybody just kind of knows each other. But the Closing Code was Matt Ryder's Facebook group essentially for sales training, and it was dirt cheap. I think it was like $50 a month, and you could get in there, you do role plays, and you get like weekly or bi-weekly sales training. It was a really cool group, great community. And when I worked at Sales Sniper, so Sales Sniper was like it was like a ragtag group of dudes at the beginning, and we were just fighting to get sales.
Yeah, I mean,
you know what I mean?
Like Sales Sniper, if you don't know, some of the, I mean, it's kind of fading away. Like the Sales Sniper just becomes like a myth now. It's almost like a tale, that you hear. It's like, you were part of Sales Sniper. Like it's kind of, as we're progressing, the new kids are coming on the block and they might not know about the OG stuff. But whenever I hit the ground running, there was a lot of, oh, he's a sniper. Oh, he's a sniper type thing. So ragtag guys, what was it like? And like, what was that time like?
It was fun. I mean, I'll tell you the story of how I got into that world and into sniper in a second, but the culture of Sales Sniper was truly like we're just like the recon group, because there was really nothing like it. So we just would go out and we'd just be assigned accounts, and then you just sell. And like the one thing that I'm so grateful for with being a part of that, because it was like three of us. It was me, Rode, and Will Autumns, and a guy named Joel Saffel who stayed there for a little bit. He's actually one of my best friends. But he's the one who got me into that and introduced me to Matt. And then it was Matt Ryder and James Sackle, obviously. And that was like it. That was it. And then that company ended up growing to like 150 people, 150 different sales reps. But at the beginning, the team meetings was just like four of us. And yeah, it was crazy to see the like rise of how it went. But the culture was so much of like hustle, grind, don't complain. You just get it done. But we're also just a group of dudes, and you would say outlandish shit, just crazy times. But yeah, man, I look back at that stuff so fondly. And the boot camp that you're talking about was a sales training organization that, not organization, sort of like a boot camp. That's what it was. It was like a 6-week
container.
Yeah, exactly. It was like a 6-week container where it was to get you up to speed as fast as possible. If you knew pretty much nothing about sales and you wanted to get at least pretty darn good.
I remember I was doing these construction sales, like in-person appointments, and I would do them at 11, 1, 4, and 7. And I scheduled my remote calls at 12, 2, 3, and 5.
So you're just jumping back and forth
I'm
in
literally,
person to
I'm
remote.
literally driving through Tennessee and around Johnson City, and I'm pulling up to a Starbucks, and I'm hopping on this call, and I'm like late, and I'm having to learn all this Zoom shit, and it was just such chaos. And the same thing was happening when I was attending the calls, and they also did them at some of the most outlandish times because you were catering to a bigger market. It's like people in Australia, and you're like, yeah, it's gonna be at 1 a.m. Eastern. I was like, okay, great, and
Cool. I'll stay up.
yeah, I'll just stay up. And I remember when I went through the program and learned all the basics on discovery and pitch and objection handling. And at the end, we basically did like a test. It was like a test sales call, and it was you and me. And I remember, I'll never forget it. I was at a Starbucks just in the middle of nowhere, and you had me role play, and I was so nervous, and I was basically just cheating because I didn't actually do the homework before that. And so I was just like, I just got drugged through the course, and then we did it, and you're like, yeah, 6 out of 10, you did okay on these things, but you just missed all these things. And I was just like, oh, there's a lot to learn here. And so thinking back on that now, I forget that learning how to walk through a sales process is actually kind of complex if you've never done it or you've never been exposed to what actually happens and why it happens. And there's like, in terms of curriculum and training, a lot of people want to jump to this advanced Jedi mind trick stuff, when in fact, like, you just need to have a checklist of what to cover on the calls.
Man, the best salespeople are not the ones that have the most elaborate objection handling sequences and are pre-handling everything and using NLP and hypnotizing you in the process. It's just the people that do the basics really fucking well. And I mean, that's the same in the military too. Ask anybody who's like elite special ops. They'll tell you, like, we don't learn new shit. You don't have a whole new arsenal of tools. You might have a couple new tools, but what makes you elite is the fact that you do the basics better than everybody else. And it's the same with sales. You just have to stick to the process. The amount of times I do a call review with someone and I watch them try to do this elaborate stuff and they haven't even got the basics down, and like I have to slap them and put them back into place. I'm like, do the right discovery, like ask the right questions, transition into the pitch properly. And they're forgetting that because they want to be cool. And I'm a victim of that too. I mean, we've all done it.
Yeah.
I'm not throwing stones.
Like, oh, let me try that, like, and it just goes way off, and you're thinking about what to say, and it just goes off.
Totally. And because it's easy to nerd out on. I mean, it's psychology. I fucking love psychology. I have a brain tattoo on my arm. Like anything brain related, psychology, I'm such a nerd for it. So like learning this sales, and it's basically hypnotism to a degree. It's so fascinating. So you want to try all these cool new things and experiment with all this cool new stuff you learn. But yeah, you just have to stick to the basics.
100%, man. We could talk about the basics forever. So I'd love to get some context on, who you are. People may or may not know you. If they're in this space, they probably have heard of you or seen you on a call review, or if they were lucky enough to have a company that was in the 8-figure boardroom, then they might have been exposed to you and Igor or whoever it was on the back end slapping them around. So I remember when that happened to me, and we bumped into each other again, and I was like, Tony, yo, I was in the boot camp, and now you're an 8-figure, and connected the dots. And so if we zoom out and go all the way back, tell me a little bit about your story. Who were you before sales? Where did you come from? You can start wherever. Just give us the context for the audience.
Yeah, man. Before I got into sales, I had kind of done a lot of things. I mean, in my early, like late teens to early 20s, I was a total party animal. I didn't give a shit about building anything, career, making money, nothing. I just wanted to do drugs, party. And I was pretty fucking good at it. And I retained that skill set, but I use it sparingly. Sure. And it wasn't until I was like 26, 27 so I'd been a DJ for a long time. I've been a DJ since I was like 20 years old. And a buddy of mine, we used to DJ clubs together and festivals, and someone had offered him a wedding gig. And so he went and DJed this wedding, and he got a check for like $1,500. Now, when you DJ a nightclub, you get like maybe $300 if you're lucky. And so that was a wake up moment for him. He was like, dude, we could do weddings and make way more fucking money. And so he had asked me if I wanted to start a wedding DJ business with him. And I said no initially. I didn't want to. My plan was to go to Denmark and study neurobiology. That was my plan, because I'm a French citizen. So I could go to anywhere in Europe, almost anywhere, and get pretty much free college. So Denmark had a really incredible program. I'd get free university. And they also pay you a student stipend. So I'd make money to go get like a master's degree in Denmark.
Okay, so wedding business idea, you rejected it initially.
Right.
You're thinking about going to Denmark. Walk me through before you had that realization. Like, how did you come to that conclusion that that was going to be the thing?
Well, so that's how where I'm going with it. So my plan was to go to Europe, and I told him, listen, I'm not going to start this business. I got to go to Europe. He goes, okay, well, just start it with me. And then you just go whenever you need to go, but like help me get it off the ground. And then, you'll have equity in the company, obviously. And I was like, all right.
Deposit.
Yeah. He said, do a deposit. Yeah. He fucking deposit closed me, dude. I'm like, all right, fine. I'll start it for a year. I'll help you get it off the ground, but then I got to go.
And you're 27?
Yeah. 26, 27, something like that. And in the process, we started this, it starts growing. We're getting clients. I'm falling in love with like the business side of things, the sales side of things. And I had done sales kind of on and off, like different random gigs, selling random shit. Cutco knives. Shout out Cutco. Everybody sold Cutco knives, dude.
The OGs, not the new kids. They don't know about that.
They don't know anything about Cutco, bro. They don't know about knocking doors to sell knives.
What you know about Amway?
I don't know what do you know about the magic water they sold at Amway? Nothing. Perfect water, I think it was called. So in the process, I just fell in love with business. I was like, this is fucking awesome. And this company was called Diamond Heights Events, ended up becoming the top rated DJ company in Seattle within the first year.
No way.
And so we had this like meteoric rise. And I said, fuck college. I was like, I'm not going to go to Denmark. I'm going to do
neuroscience.
Fuck neuroscience. Fuck brains, dude. Fuck my brain. So yeah, I fell in love with the business side of things. And I fell in love with sales and like getting on sales calls and Facebook ads and like all this stuff that I never thought I would enjoy.
And so when you're having this meteoric rise, like what are some of the beliefs that are shedding and what are some of the voices that are coming up for you as you're climbing? Because I'm sure it had to be kind of like, what the fuck is happening? Like,
yeah.
What was that like mentally when you were going up and up the ranks?
I mean, there's a lot of shakiness, to be honest. There's a lot of like, can you believe this is happening? Right? Like this can't be real. Right. And listen, I was not rolling in money at the time. Like every dollar we made went back into the business. So it's not like I was super rich by doing this, but just the fact that I didn't think I could actually do that. To me, like being a business owner was such I just thought it was for a select group of people.
Far away,
or like not even a thing I had considered myself to do, like owning a business. That's crazy. I didn't think I would ever own a business. And then fast forward, I've had a fucking bunch of businesses. But that was a belief that got shattered. The other belief that I think was the biggest mindset shift was just delegation and realizing that, spending time for money doesn't always have to be the case. And I know like most people in the space now understand that. But when I was young, I didn't get it until this. I realized, I can train another DJ or an MC, send them to events, and then I make money when they do the work. Like, to me, that was an insane concept. And the first time it happened, I was like, I don't even know what to do with myself now.
Yeah, I think being a doer, like when you're a hard worker and you're an executor, most of us start off as doers. You have some people that kind of start off as like this lazy CEO that just can figure it out with delegation right off the rip. But for me, that was something that took me way too long to recognize.
When did you figure it out?
Just recently. I mean, going into management, I think ultimately opened my mind up to the fact that I can create leverage for myself. I wanted leverage first, and I knew that it was possible. But delegation, I guess, is a skill. And I have a hard time kind of letting go of the actions and trusting others to do it to the same degree that I could do it myself. So did you deal with that as well? Like,
yeah,
think you're the best DJ, so they can't rip the set like I can.
Bro, 100%. 100%. I remember the first wedding that I let somebody else take over control. And it was like my childhood friend's wedding. He had hit me up. His name was Ryan. And he asked if we could DJ his wedding. I was like, of course, man, we got you. But I'm also going to be a guest. Like I was also invited to the wedding. So I'm like, I can't do both. I can't DJ it. And because like the DJ of the wedding, for everybody, just so they understand, is, in my opinion, the most complex job. You're the shepherd of the night. You're kind of running the show. Maybe the actual wedding planner has a more complex job. On the day of the wedding,
you set the mood, though. It's the most important job.
You set the mood. And think about it. When you go to a wedding, do you remember the food? Do you remember what the floral arrangement looks like? No, you remember how much fun you had and how great the music was and how much you danced. The dance floor. You remember the dance floor of a wedding.
Fun fact, I've actually never been to a wedding. I've got one coming up September 13th, and unfortunately, 2 of my friends are getting married on the same day, so I'm going to have to try to be at 2 places in once. But yeah.
Is it at least in the same city?
I know. So we'll figure it out. Whoever I choose, I love you more. So
yeah, there you go.
But okay, so DJ, delegation, you're handing it off, your friend's wedding.
Yeah, so I had a DJ I had trained. and he was basically doing it for the first time. And I'm in the crowd. I'm watching him, especially during the ceremony. Ceremony is the most stressful part because this is where everything matters. You can't fuck this up. This is like their special moment. The reception, whatever, if you make a mistake, people are already drinking. It's no problem. But the ceremony, when the bride is walking down the aisle and they're saying their vows and like, this is the moment, you cannot fuck that up. And I have fucked that up before, and it sucks. Like you play the wrong song, or you scratch something, like scratch a record, and it sounds all fucking crazy, or the microphone stops working, whatever. Like there's so many things that could go wrong. And I'm watching this other DJ I had trained. His name was Reese, and I'm holding my girlfriend's palm.
You're sweating.
And she's like, you're so fucking wet. Like I was just dripping sweat. My palm was fucked.
Terrified.
So terrified. So yeah, like the delegation thing was a massive lesson for me. But anyways, back to the like the timeline. So we get this business built up, and now I'm like hooked on business. I'm like, what else can I do? What other companies can I start? Like I'm addicted to it. So then I found kind of a hole where I could provide some value, and it ended up being management for short-term rentals. So like Airbnb management. And this is when Airbnb started like really popping off. This was like 2019, 2020.
And you're 29 at the time?
Yeah. I mean, 28, 29. Yeah. And so Airbnb's popping off, and I'm like, cool, I can do short-term rental management. And I had kind of hustled this deal with a house where there were 2 stories on the house. And I was like, I hustled with the landlord. I'll live upstairs for this price. Downstairs, I'll manage an Airbnb, but I get to live upstairs basically for free. If I manage the Airbnb.
This is in Seattle.
This is in Seattle. And I was broke. So I'm like, if I manage an Airbnb, it takes a couple hours out of my day, and I get to live for free rent, great deal. So I kind of hustled that deal. And so then I realized, cool, I have this skill set in like managing Airbnbs now. So then I started a company doing that. I had a couple like small clients, nothing crazy. And then I had just signed like a bigger deal for 5 properties in Seattle. And like a week after I signed it, the fake pandemic hit, which is another topic we can talk about.
Oh, yeah, let's do it.
That's a whole other thing. But now think about it. The 2 companies I have are parties and short-term rentals. And especially in Seattle, which was just straight communist when COVID hit, you couldn't do anything. Couldn't go outside, couldn't go to a grocery store, couldn't go to the gym without a mask and 5 vax cards, whatever. I'm like, all right, well, can't make money now. And Uncle Sam wouldn't give me any money. I tried to get unemployment, and he was like, hey, funny thing is, fuck off.
Yeah.
So I got no money from Uncle Sam, and I'm like, I need to do something for cash. I got to pay rent and eat. Contrary to popular belief, I like having a roof and food.
Right.
So that's how I ended up getting into remote sales.
Okay.
Because I needed to do something from home.
And here comes RCA.
No RCA.
Okay.
No, I had no affiliation with closers until I joined the team as an account manager about 2 years ago.
For context, the reason I say that is because when I was, I wasn't even privy to the space yet, and correct me if I'm wrong, but my understanding is that Cole had RCA kind of going, and then the pandemic hit, and that just lit things on
fire.
So, okay. So you got into remote sales. Walk me through how and what.
So my buddy Joel that I had mentioned, he was a big Dan Lok guy, and he was in the highest tier of Dan Lok training, the high ticket millionaire thing. And
do you know how much it was?
I don't know. I don't know how much that program was, like the high ticket one. I know his main program was like $2K. But Joel had bought the Dan Lok program, and I had watched some videos of Dan Lok, and like I kind of liked his stuff a little bit, but there's something off about it. I just couldn't put my finger on it. So I was like, I don't 100% trust the guy. But my best friend was a huge fan. So, and he had done really well. Like he got into roofing sales and was making like $200,000-300,000 a year, which was more money than I had ever even considered was possible at that time.
Right.
And so he was having success, and he had such raving reviews to say about Dan and his program. And I was like, okay, well, I'll consider it. So I went online, I looked at the program, I saw that it was $2,000. And at that time I had never spent $2,000 on anything, personal development.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's so much money. I couldn't do it. But also I just didn't trust it. There was something about Dan that I was like, I just don't.
Isn't it funny?
I don't vibe with it.
Thought like $2,000 was a fortune and it's impossible, because it's a lot of like what we deal with on calls. And if you're on especially like a B2C out, like it's not lost on me the fact that these people have never even thought about making an investment that way.
Yeah.
So you broke your beliefs. You invested the $2K.
No, I did not.
Oh,
I did not invest with Dan Lok. A couple weeks later, I came across an ad for Taylor Welch's program.
Insert Taylor Welch.
Sales mentor. And that was like $100.
Yeah.
I was like, but the funny thing is, like, even if it was 2K, I probably would have bought it. What got me was the ad. His ad was so nonchalant. It was literally Taylor. If you probably remember this ad, he had like messy hair. He's in an office and he's like,
It looks like he barely slept.
yeah, he looks tired and hungover, and he's like, "Hey, that's my brother Peyton over there. He just closed a deal. He made this much commission. Hey, Peyton, what's up?" And then Peyton waves, and
Yeah.
like that was the ad, and I was like,
Yeah.
"That's fucking way better than Dan Lok." So like,
Yeah.
I clicked on that, I bought it, and then I bought like every upsell basically from there. I bought the $100 and the $500, and then they had just launched like their private coaching, which was 2K, and then I was like, easy, bought that, and that was like my first real sales coaching, other than like, I had worked at other companies and I had been like the assistant sales manager at a gym, and like I got like some sales training from that, but it wasn't very good.
Yeah.
It never is when the company gives it to you.
Right.
So this was my first like sales process that I had really understood. And that was, that kind of shifted things for me. And then I had worked on an account, started selling fitness.
Did you get that job from within that community, or
No, I just
did they encourage you to like go out and DM influencers? Like, how was it back then?
I don't remember I think it was like go into Facebook groups and try to find accounts to sell for, but
Yeah.
I just kind of like weaseled my way. I like pretended to name drop certain names so I could get interviews, and then it worked. Then I like got an interview with this fitness company and then got the job there. And it was a 6K fitness offer for obese women, which is a interesting offer for a 29-year-old, 28-year-old, like not obese man to sell.
Right.
But I was the top closer on that account for months.
Did that happen immediately? Like you just rose to the ranks? Or?
Pretty much. I mean, I would love to say that I really had to fight hard, but I'm kind of a natural with some of this stuff, which is like, I'm not gonna lie about it, but like it was fairly easy for me to do it. And I think I also had like sales experience before, but just being personable and sharp and quick on feet.
It's important to recognize nature versus nurture. And I think that like for me, like my natural personality is to win others over. It's just like, it's literally
like you said, you have the X factor.
Yeah, it's like and whether that's a good thing or not, it's relevant. It's just I happen to be born with a certain set of skills, right? I have a certain skills that it contributes to success in this area. And I think for anybody listening that might not have that naturally, go and do the work. But okay, so you walked on, you doing pretty well. You rose to the ranks.
Yeah, and not to say that I didn't fucking try. Like I trained hard, and I really like did my best to learn the process, and I role played, and I really took it seriously. But I will say that it was probably easier for me than maybe other people, and I'll acknowledge that.
Another quick question: we can walk through the timeline, but jumping forward, you've trained a ton of sales reps. How many people do you feel underestimate the level of training and effort that's required to actually get good at that beginner level? Because I feel like a lot of what's happening, and this is a common theme amongst these most recent conversations I've had, is that the expectations are just through the roof. Everybody thinks they're going to make $300,000 off rip. They've never sold anything in their lives.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe say a few things on like what you've seen after training so many reps, and do people just forget that nowadays, or is it like the state of kind of where we're at right now? Like how many people are being entered into the market with these false expectations on what it's going to take?
Here's what I'll say. I think that 90% of people are underestimating the amount of work it's going to take, or underestimating their own personal abilities.
Mm-hmm.
And not to say that they can't achieve it, but they just think it's going to be easier. They might think they have an X factor when you don't. And if you don't, that's okay. Like it's not the end of the world for you. It just means you're fighting a little bit more of an uphill battle. So you're going to have to try harder. You're going to have to release the parts of you that are not super in line with being successful at this role. So if you're a little more shy and you find it hard to ask like hard-hitting questions, that's not going to be a successful trait. You're going to have to overcome that. And I had a mentor when I was at Sales Sniper named James Reese Hopkins, fucking awesome dude. And he was a big like NLP guy, and he was kind of like mindset coach with all of us, and he helped us do alter egos. You know, the book Alter Ego Effect, Todd Herman?
Yeah.
So he had to kind of walk us through the alter ego process. And to be honest, that was huge for me. I really got a lot of value out of it. Even though I had quote unquote, whatever the X factor, I was still really nervous a lot of the time. And I couldn't because you think about it, especially if you sell like a business product. My first offer at Sales Sniper was working with Ryan Serhant, and I was selling to real estate agents. A lot of these guys are making 10 times the money I was making at the time. I'm a brand new sales rep. I barely cracked like $7,000 a month. and they're making, hundreds of thousands sometimes. Most of them are. Most real estate agents are dirt broke. But sometimes you get a like really wealthy person and I have to pretend like I'm this, you know, expert in front of them. And I think a lot of people struggle with that. Like when I'm working with sales reps and coaching them, a lot of times that comes up. It's like this imposter syndrome where they have a hard time dealing with sophisticated buyers, quote unquote.
Yeah. Whether
And
that's a thing or not, will
yeah, there's some validity to it, but it doesn't carry the weight that everyone thinks it does. But yeah, like the alter ego effect was really useful for me. And I had a pair of glasses that I wore that were like blue blockers. And I have perfect vision. I don't need glasses for the record. But I had these blue blockers and I had attached an alter ego to those blue blockers.
oh,
And so whenever I would put on my blue blockers, I was like this combination of like James Bond and Batman and like all these different like people that I really saw value in their ability to communicate. And I was like Sherlock Holmes. Like I would just kind of take these traits from all these people. And I was the best closer in my mind. I was an expert in the field in my mind. And I would just pretend. And I had a background in acting. I was an actor when I was younger. And so I realized this is just acting,
100%.
you know?
Okay, couple interesting things. So take me back to the fitness offer. You started crushing it, and then I'd love to see the evolution and then how you wound up at Sniper. Um, let's start with that. And then I'd like to allude to the fact that what you just mentioned, which is that you were an actor, what even happened before that might have led to some of that natural ability that you brought to the market.
So I was on this fitness offer. I ended up leaving because I was like basically in a disagreement with the sales manager who was kind of a dick. And so we were butting heads all the time. And I got offered, so I got introduced to Matt Ryder um, because he was like a fitness sales guy. And he had this Facebook group called The Closing Code. And my friend Joel, the Dan Locke guy, said, "Oh, you should join this group. Matt sells a lot of like fitness and there's good fitness content in there." And I was like, great. So I joined the group. And Matt had reached out to me and said, "Hey, if you leave me a review or something, I'll give you a free call review." So, or as a testimonial, leave a video testimonial, I'll give you a call review. So I did that. And then he reviews my call and he sends me back, "Hey man, like I can tell you're good, but you're not following the process that you want to follow." That was basically his feedback. I'll never forget this. He's like, "Do it the way you want to do it. I can tell you're fighting yourself. So just do it the way you want to do it and see what happens." And because I had kind of been learning like NEPQ at the time, but I was following the process from the sales manager that I didn't like. And like, I guess Matt could see that. And so I said, all right. So my next call, I just did it the way I wanted to do it, despite what my sales manager said, because he was always on my case if I didn't follow his exact process. So I said, fuck him. I'm just going to do it my way. I did it my way, closed the call, flawless, like half the time. My calls were going like 90 minutes. I closed this one in like 40 or 50. And so I hit Matt up and I was like, "Hey, this is what happened." And he goes, "Cool, man. Do you want to just come work for me?" And just like poached me out the offer. Yep. And I was like, 100%, dude, fuck this place. I'm out.
Yeah.
And so then that's how I got connected with Sales Sniper. And I was like the second or third hire in the company.
Nice, man. And so you alluded to it earlier in the Sniper days, so we hit on that a little bit. But you mentioned that you stepped into this alter ego, kind of like this 007, Batman thing, but that you had a background in acting. So what do you think some of the, if you could allude to maybe like before you even had the idea to go to college, whatever, what are some of those hobbies or skill sets or interests or things that you got exposed to early on, like young Tony, that you pulled from that helped you in this space?
It's a really good question. I'd say there's probably two things that had a huge impact, not just on like sales and career, but I think all aspects of life. One is sports. Like if you were an athlete and you really took it seriously, I think you're just going to do better in other aspects of life because you learn about competition, you learn about teamwork, you learn about how to like lean on other people when you need it, but also how to lead when you need to do it. Yeah, and like just driving towards a goal, right? Like,
Sure.
that's very sport. Unless your sport was like, I don't know, golf still has it.
Yeah.
I wanted to talk shit on a sport, but whatever. So sports was one, and then acting was another. And this is advice I end up giving to salespeople a lot when I'm coaching them, when I can tell they're not fully stepping into the emotion they need to have. What I mean by that is if you are trying to be curious, fucking be curious. Like,
Yeah.
like do it authentically. And if you can't, then you need to learn how to pretend to do it.
Okay.
Right. But curiosity is so important in a sales process, because if somebody doesn't think you genuinely care, they're not going to give you any more information and they're not going to buy from you. And so one of the things that we used to do in rehearsals when I was acting is realizing the fact that if you're portraying an emotion in a scene, you're probably playing it lower than you think you are. So if I think, let's say I need to be sad for a scene, right? I have these mediums. So like the audience has to perceive me in a particular way. And I might be as sad as I can possibly be. Like I'm playing the role of sad as much as I can. I'm a 10 out of 10 in my own mind, but the audience might see it as like a 7 out of 10. And so when you have to portray an emotion, we tend to perceive our own emotions as bigger than they are. So you might think you're being way too angry, but you're actually not. And so what we would do in rehearsal is overplay the emotion as much as you can. If you need to be a 10 out of 10, be a 14 out of 10. And like if you have to be sad, roll on the floor screaming and crying and like overplay it like to the ridiculous. Because you're not actually performing, right? It's like just go over the top with it. And then when you do that, then you know, okay, my abilities are more than I think they are in terms of portraying this emotion. And then you can drop it down a little bit. And now you're at the sweet spot where the audience will perceive you.
Yeah, I think it's probably a lot easier to pull back the reins instead of trying to get off the couch.
Exactly.
With it.
And I would do this with people on sales calls, or not on sales calls, on coaching calls with sales reps, is we'd like say a couple questions or do a part of the call. And I'd say, do it again, but more. And then we'd have to do that. And I was like, do it again, but more. And it's the same thing my acting coaches would do. They do it again, but more. And then you just have to portray the emotion bigger and bigger, bigger until it's ridiculous. And you feel stupid doing it.
Yeah, it's like curious old man times 10.
Exactly. Like, yeah, be curious old man times 1,000,000 and just be fucking dumb about it. And then you'll know, like, you have the ability to go this far. And then you reel it back a little. And now you're at the sweet spot. And yeah, I started applying stuff like that to sales, and it made a massive impact.
Yeah, I think one of the common traits that I'm noticing amongst the best players is they have kind of taken and acquired these skills in a different medium, and then they're applying it to sales. And so for the people that might not have that vehicle, otherwise, it's really not apparent to me that you're not going to hit the ground as fast as you want. And so there's got to be something else outside of sales. Like I'm sure you're familiar with David Davidson. He
never heard of her. Just kidding. I love David, dude.
I'd never heard of her.
David's the best.
You
live near David, don't you?
So I'm not even sure where he lives, but
he lives in South Carolina.
Yeah, now that you say that, I remember
Greenville.
He's ripping mountain bikes somewhere.
Yeah, dude. He's somewhere right in this moment. He knows. He's on a mountain bike thinking about us, thinking about him.
Yeah, he taught me a lot, and I only had a handful of calls with him, but he always told me that you had to have something outside of sales that you protect. And so if you don't have acting or sports or whatever, whether it's previous or currently, go and do that and apply those skills to sales, because it is like a sport, right? So anyways, you pull these skills from, the acting and from sports, you crushed it, then Matt Ryder recruits you. And then we talked a little bit about it in the beginning, but give me some more of the sales sniper early days and then what happened next and kind of that timeline to where whatever happened between the beginning and then what happened next.
So, yeah, I mean, Sniper just started to grow. We would just take on more and more accounts. And as the team grew, I mean, the OGs like us just took on more of like leadership roles and management. And this was, I mean, my first ever experience in like running any sort of team was my own DJ company. Which I was still running at the time that I was in Sales Sniper. And then I started taking on a little bit more like training and management. And at one point, my title, because there were no real titles. Like the Sales Sniper as a company was the Wild West. We were just kind of doing whatever. So they would just like give me a base and a title. And he's like, here's your role, which was super fun. And they're like, make up a job, basically. It was kind of interesting. So at one point, my job was the culture czar. That was like my legitimate title. And my whole job was just to create culture and like to help the team like be collaborative and make sure everybody's happy and everybody's like striving and hitting their goals. And like I would set action plans for their goals and their development and help them get there.
It's really interesting.
Yeah, it's like it was just a ragtag group of dudes in the Wild West.
It's really interesting that you say that, because think about, and you probably have considered this at some point, but of that Wild West, making something from nothing, culture czar position that you had, that has trickled downstream to so many fucking companies that exist right now through the sales reps that were under you, and then they took it and made their own version of it. So somewhere there's like a patchwork organization that has some of that energy that you cultivated at the very beginning.
I hope so. Yeah.
So, so how long were you there?
At Sniper,
Hmm.
about 2-ish years, and part of that was also with seventh level because, as you know, we like merged with seventh.
Yeah, for those who might not know, can you just like give some context on like Matt, Jeremy, the big folks, and then how that kind of happened?
Seventh level was Jeremy Miner's company, sales training organization, and Sales Sniper was obviously Matt Ryder's company, and a guy named James Sackle. And so the merger was basically like, I don't even know how to describe it. And there's some things I can't say, so I'm trying to
Yeah, be careful.
figure out how I can match this verbiage to make sense for everyone. But basically, we merged, and Matt Ryder became the CEO of Seventh Level.
Yep.
And so Jeremy was like the main trainer. He's the face of the company, obviously on the board, like part of making decisions. But Matt was kind of running the show in terms of like scaling the growth. And when Sales Sniper not took over, but merged with Seventh, Seventh fucking blew up. Meteoric rise.
Prime seventh.
Prime Seventh back in the day. And yeah, it was fun, man. It was a super fun ride. And I stayed there. I kind of went back and forth. I would do some seventh level stuff, do some Sales Sniper stuff. It was all incestuous to a degree where we're all just
Sure.
kind of working at the same company, but at different companies. And yeah, so I was there a total of maybe 2.5 years. And then I decided I want to spread my wings and do something else on my own. And so I left both companies in 2022, I believe, like end of 2022. And I just did my own thing. I did my own like consulting with some companies. I would sell on accounts. And I really just did my own thing and like traveled. I went backpacking through Europe and the Middle East. And I just worked enough to make money and just have some freedom. Because it was it was a grind, like those couple years were a grind. And I just wanted to do my own thing and also see how I fared on my own without a team.
Sure. Yeah, I think when you're a part of a bigger organization and you're in it every day and you're working your face off and you're just grinding, you're making good money, but also like there's no fucking time freedom that
Yeah.
exists. That's a myth. This laptop lifestyle closer thing, it's a total sham. Like it doesn't exist, man.
Yeah, this like people buy into the idea that I'll be a business owner or a remote sales rep and I'll make my own hours and have all this time. No, you're gonna work every hour now.
Yeah,
You can choose your own schedule, but you have to work 20 out of the 24 hours, and you can choose any of those 20 hours to work, but you have to work those.
Yeah, it's like instead of 9 to 5, now it's 7 to 7.
Yeah,
Welcome.
exactly.
So okay, you stopped, you did your own thing. What did you learn going through Europe with a backpack? Because I remember just kind of seeing that on Instagram. I'm like, okay, he's out there in the mountains, doing whatever. What were some of those big reflections that you came away from a company like that with? And what were you thinking through? Like, was there some trauma that you had to heal from afterwards? Like, what
Really, man. I mean,
was it like?
no, because I didn't leave on any negative terms. I love everybody there. They're still my family. I'm still super close with most of the people there. Still stay in contact with them. So I wouldn't say I had any like trauma. I was so grateful for those opportunities and for what I learned, and it taught me the value of actually fucking working. Because to be honest, I was lazy before that. I would do enough to get by, and it wasn't until I realized that I'm in a true meritocracy where it doesn't matter, like nepotism doesn't matter, your race doesn't matter, nothing matters. What matters is the output and the results that you get. And so you have to be good. And even if you're good with people and you can like schmooze really well, that still won't get you very far. You still have to have the skill set. And when I realized that, I locked myself in my room because this is during COVID. There was nothing else to do anyways. And I just studied. I would like write my sales script by hand, multiple times a day and then write it backwards. And then I would like write it out with space in between. And then underneath every question or phrase, like what was the point of that question or phrase? Why am I saying it? And I would just like immerse myself in it. And I would walk around my neighborhood giving myself objections and then handling them. And my whole neighborhood thought I was schizophrenic because I just walk around like all day just talking to myself.
But do you really though?
Yeah. But what would that really do for you though? Like,
right. Oh man, do you still have some of those like OG like files or like Google Docs or like papers where you're actually scribbling that? Because that's like the meditations. That's like the Marcus Aurelius.
yeah, that's my Marcus Aurelius meditations somewhere, dude. I mean, I have like binders on binders of workbooks. So I'd have to go hunt for them, but I'm sure I have them somewhere. I mean, I've moved like 3 times since then. I'm sure I lost some shit, but
Man,
probably
that
have it.
is so cool to hear, man. It makes me think about the early days when I was learning this stuff and I kind of did something similar. People don't respect the craft enough. I think one of the biggest things I want to accomplish by putting this type of message out there is like, man, don't disrespect the fucking craft. Like, you have an obligation to show up for these prospects. And if you believe that sales is service, which I do, and that we're actually helping people, you should take it super fucking seriously.
Yeah, I mean, dude, you hit the nail on the head. It's yes, we're here to make money. Yes, we're here to build careers and build our empires and all that. But at the end of the day, like, you have to sell a thing you fucking believe in, and that is good for the world. Because I've sold shit that wasn't good for the world, and you feel icky about it. And I ended up getting scammed out of 60 grand because I sold shit that wasn't good. And so, like, I ate the poison that I was like dishing out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
Yeah, I wandered into a
yeah.
couple organizations that, let's just say they weren't necessarily fulfilling on their promise to their clients, and I didn't realize it immediately. But once I did, I flagged it, and I was like, "Yo, somebody's got to give me some answers here. Like, what is this support ticket? What is this? What is this? I want to know. Like, what the fuck is happening on the back end?" And quickly, I had to remove myself from that company just because I didn't want blood on my hands, you know. And so, unless you're just an absolute psychopath, you know, you want to help people, and so there are companies that you should be aware of, and if they can't produce evidence of the result, that's a big red flag. A lot of people say their best closers are making X amount when in fact it's usually half. So as a closer and as a top performer, definitely got to be careful about who you align yourself with as far as a company and an organization goes.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so you did the sabbatical, and then what happened after that?
Yeah, it was sabbatical. That's a good way to put it. After that, my plan was to keep doing that. I was pretty fucking happy. I was making, you know, well over 6 figures, working like 20 hours a week and actually making my own schedule. Like, things were good, but I didn't feel that pushed. And another thing was I had, this is a whole other fucking thing we won't get into, but basically I had an Amazon business, an Amazon FBA business that was fucking failing because I had this cursed account. And so I ended up with like 200 grand in debt from this thing.
Ooh.
And so I'm like, I got to pay off all this fucking debt, and like, I'm making decent money, but it's enough to like live on, right? It's not enough to pay off 200 grand worth of debt. So I was like, I need to do something else for money, like make more and more money. And, I got introduced to, I had met Cole like briefly in passing, just being in the space, but never really had any real conversations. And, you know, Eli? Yeah. So,
Wild.
Eli Wild. Yeah. We were in Miami, having dinner, and he's like, Cole is looking for another account manager. You should go work over there. And at the time I was like, no, why would I ever do that? Because Sniper and Closers.io were not like hard competitors, but like, you know, we would get the clients that didn't do very well over there. They'd come to us and we hear them talk shit. But I bet they had the same thing where clients that were at Sniper that didn't get great results would go over there and then they'd
so
talk shit.
interesting, man. I would say that early on, I went through the NEPQ, Jeremy Miner stuff, like 7th level, Black Book, whatever. And then I got a lot of formalized training from closers and STA and 7FSA and Sean, Ray, and Temple and these account managers that were on the thing. So I'm kind of like middle of the road, but a lot of people have shit to say about Cole, and then all the Cole people have shit to say about Jeremy. It's like,
Yeah, and most of the people, because like both services are fucking great.
Yeah.
Most of the time, it's like they fucked it up, like the client fucked it up somehow, and then they're just talking shit. But when you're siloed into your side, whether it's Sniper or Closers, you just hear what the clients say, and then you start to build this idea in your head. So I was like, I don't want to go work at Closers. But I mean, Sean Ray was an account manager there. Jeff Ketterer was an account manager there, and I'm great friends with them. So I hit them up, and they're like, dude, the culture here is awesome. Like, you should absolutely come be an account manager. It fucks super hard. And I trust them. And I was like, all right, well, fuck my, ideas of what I think it is. Like, these are coming from the source. And so
someone you trust.
this is two people I trust a lot. So, yeah, then that's how I got connected as an AM. And that was almost 2 years ago.
So you jumped right into, for those who might not understand, like, is that just the B2B, like, training of the accounts, the reps of the accounts that are a client of 8-Figure Boardroom?
What is the account manager role?
Yeah.
So you're essentially like a business consultant specializing in sales, but you're kind of overviewing the whole thing. So clients come in, whether it's an STA or in Boardroom, and Boardroom is like STA on crack. It's for businesses that are doing at least 100K a month revenue, and they really want to fucking skyrocket. So you have access to Cole, you have access to like our whole C-suite, and you have access to these live events where you're just in rooms with fucking multimillionaires. It's like, it's top notch. And so you have a mix of accounts of STA and boardroom. And basically your job is to that client, wherever their business is, and then fucking grow it. So you're kind of like a fractional CRO to a degree. And they have, they have marketing experts, they have sales experts, they have pretty much everything under the sun that you need. It's like full stack business coaching and scaling.
For coaching programs specifically.
For everything, man. I mean, it started off as coaches, consultants, but now it's a lot more broad. So we have like tax people, we have like accountants, we got med spas. We got
absolutely ripping the med spas.
Ripping med spas, dude. Who's ripping med spas? So we can
printing med spas.
We can do pretty much any business. I have like an allergy company. Like there's like random I have a lighting company, because eventually business is all kind of the same. Like the philosophies are the same. Nuances are different, but at the end of the day, like look at your KPIs, find the constraints, solve them, and scale. Like it's not wildly complex.
Hit leads, close them, deliver.
Yeah, exactly.
So, okay, so you got over to closers. By the way, I just want to give I don't think I've done this yet, a good shout out to Sean Ray, because he taught me basically everything. Not everything I know. Like I came to him kind of knowing what was going on, but I told him the first time I met him, I was like, I'm going to be your best student ever. And I'm going to listen to everything you say. I'm not going to question a single word of it. Just tell me what to do and I'll do it. And if you tell me to stab somebody, well, I guess that's what I'm doing.
I guess I'm stabbing.
Yeah.
And Sean would tell you to stab somebody.
Yeah, he would.
He would do it.
I unfortunately got left behind on the bicep train that they're doing with Sean and Dean and all these guys are just getting jacked. But
you need more trend.
Yeah.
That's the trick.
That's it. That's what they won't tell you. No, just joking. But Sean is an absolute legend. He taught me a lot of what I know. And then Temple actually took over the account because I think Sean left at that point, kind of like a year into us being a client of 8-Figure Boardroom. Dickie and Cole, who I worked with at the Premium.
You're with Dickie Bush?
Yeah.
Okay.
So he's like big brother. He taught me everything. He was my real mentor. Sean was my sales mentor. Right. So that's where I really got to spread my wings. And I was a top rep there every single month for 2 years and just absolutely led the charge. And I left them in March of this year. So I went all in on management. Now I'm working with a guy named Alex. We're helping product managers land roles at top tech companies. We don't have necessarily like a sophisticated buyer, but it is a complex sale in the sense that it's not a obese woman. It's a product manager making $200,000. So you can't just show up like a kid with your hair messed up and you're like, so do you want to get to 700,000 and what would that do for you? And they're like,
yeah, you can't ask those questions.
Who the fuck are you, man? So it's been a long, awesome ride. But yeah, 8-Figure Boardroom did a lot for me. And STA, all the modules, everything gave us at PGA with Dickie. Dickie did everything that Cole said. And it was just Cole Gordon, his business partner is also named Cole. But we just implemented everything Cole said to the T. And guess what? It worked pretty well. And it was a lot of fun, man. I'm so glad that I got to experience that mentorship. And then how you can do those one-on-one calls where it's like book an extra session with whoever. That's how I bumped into you again. And Igor and then David Davidson and Cindy. What's her last name? I can't remember.
Grace.
Cindy Grace, rock star. She taught me this objection handle about comparing I'm looking at other company's objection, and it just has made me so much fucking money.
What was the objection handle?
It's in the course. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, it's behind the paywall. You guys
it's behind the paywall.
You gotta buy it first.
Okay, so you're at Closers and you're part of the account management team. Is that what you're still currently doing?
Yeah.
Cool. How's it been, man? Like, I guess you told me the initial and that it's been awesome, but what kind of things have you learned? Let me think for a second. What have you learned scaling all these different awesome companies, and what are some of the common things that you see that sales teams fuck up?
I would say, so kind of going back to the same topic of just doing the basics well, that's the core.
I had an intuition that that's what you're
dude, truly, if you can do the basics, you're going to be 90% good, at least 80% good. Right. And then if you want to be next level, then you get fancy. But like, we have something called the big three. You remember the big three?
Mm-hmm.
Which is like the 3 main things you need to do for sales management. And I probably won't say them here because you got to join the program. But basically, like, if you can do those 3 things really well, and for sales team management, like as a sales team manager, if you can do those things really well, I've seen companies that have completely broken sales teams, and I'll come in and literally just fix one of the things in the big 3, and their team is performing 50% better.
Yeah, what are the big 3?
I can tell you. So the big 3 is 1, daily meetings. Like you have to have a daily touch point with your team. Even if it's a team of 1. If you have 1 salesperson, meet with that person daily. I don't give a shit. He's like, meet with them.
What do you say to the people that do this Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or this like Tuesday, Thursday?
So it's fine for a little bit. Let's say I take on a company and they don't do any sales team meetings. You would think doesn't happen, but that's actually more common than you would imagine. So they don't do any sales team meetings. They maybe like call their sales rep every now and again to check in, or like the sales rep sends in a report and the manager thinks that's good enough. I won't make them go daily meetings right away because that's a lot. And you know salespeople, you are one and you manage them. A lot of times they're lone wolves. They don't want to be managed. They don't want to do admin. They don't want to be on meetings. They want to go fucking close deals. So if you go from 0 meetings to now a daily meeting, that's a lot for them and it's going to piss them off. So you kind of have to taper it a little bit and frame it in their best interest. So I will let them do 2 to 3 meetings a week to start if they're starting at 0. But like get the thin end of the wedge in first, start the process of meetings, and then you can widen that gap a little bit. And again, framing it in their best interest, like, hey, the reason we're doing these meetings is so that I can have better visibility on the deals, which means I can then help close them, which at the end of the day means you're going to make more money. And I can then tailor XYZ to you so that you have a better experience in the company, blah, blah, blah. Like pull stuff out of your butt. I don't care. It has to be framed in that salesperson's best interest. Otherwise, they're just going to see it as dumb admin and dumb meetings that they don't want to go to.
Oh man, 100%. And getting them to fill out the CRM, we're working on
Yeah.
it. Yeah. So okay, daily meetings. What's the second?
Daily meetings. And the other two are quantitative data and qualitative data. Quantitative is the numbers, the actual data, like how many calls did you make today? How many closed? How much cash did you collect? What's the, what was your total close rate? Well, blah, blah, blah. Like, what are the numbers and the ratios? And that has to be tracked and it has to be accurate because numbers don't lie. However, there's still regression of the mean, which is the standard deviation in the numbers when you're working with human beings. And so because that exists and numbers are going to fluctuate, you also have to have qualitative data. Qualitative is the more emotional or the, like the logical stuff.
Yes.
So like, okay, you spoke to 5 people today. What are the outcomes of those 5 people? What were their objections? What's the backstory on those people? Also, how do you feel? What's your energy level today? Like, are you depressed? Is there stuff going on in your personal life?
Yeah, when I asked the guys to fill out the BOD and the EOD reports that are straight from STA, like the literal templates, they're like, why am I putting my hydration down?
Yeah. Why do you care how many times I peed today?
Yeah. And it's like the daily reflections, like, what are the 3 to 5 biggest things or best things that happen today? And what are you looking forward to tomorrow? What is one thing you could have done better? And a lot of times, even when I was filling it out, I was like, this is fucking stupid, dude. Like, I want to go to bed now. Or like, I want to get off screens.
Yep.
But it's so important, man. I'm so glad that Dickie forced me to fill those out because it's like your journal. And if you don't have that, then you don't really know what's going on. You're kind of flying blind. So
absolutely,
no one is doing that, or like hardly ever anybody's doing that when you meet with them and get started with.
Rarely, man. Rarely, unless they've been in STA or because a lot of like Cole's frameworks and stuff, it's been permeated into the space.
Oh, that sales tracker is out there.
A ton. Yeah, the trackers. Dude, some people come to us, they're like, oh, I'm already doing this stuff. I'm like, oh, cool. Were you like a client before? They're like, no, I found it on this fucking website. It's like, okay, so you're already using our stuff to a degree. So sometimes that will happen.
Guys, for those who are still right here with us, it is not lost on me that someone like Tony, I met him early on and we've stayed connected in the industry. It's so important to open doors. Like a lot of times closers are good at closing deals, but they forget about opening. So the reason that Tony's sitting here today is because I DM'd him on Instagram and I've consistently just made deposits into the relationship to where he's willing to come and tell his story and even give us some tips. And so whether you're a sales rep, offer owner, or a founder, or whoever, make sure that you're an opener. And if you think that you're going to succeed without talking to strangers and developing the relationships, then you're full of it. And I am going to continue just banging the drum on the fact that a rising tide can raise all the ships, and I'm going to be a rising tide in this industry. And thing that I want to leave you with is just go and build the muscle of DMing people on Instagram. And don't ask for anything. Expect nothing. Appreciate everything. Pay someone their kudos. Give them a compliment. Tell them that they're crushing it. And don't make it vague and generic. Make it specific. Like, hey, man, I saw that you did this thing. I really appreciate the fact that you included this other thing. Or, hey, I really loved watching you achieve that accomplishment. Or I heard from this person that you're crushing it in this thing. And just become someone who is known for giving flowers and edification. A lot of this is something that Temple taught me, who always had to edify Cole. you should always try to edify people that you respect and build relationships and tell them that, whether it's online or in person. Everywhere you go, leave it better than you found it. Give flowers, give credit. And that's why Tony is sitting here today with me. And that's why we're getting to pick his brain. And that's going to continue to, once we get bigger and bigger people in front of the camera, in front of the mic, like it's because we're just simply making these deposits. So take that into consideration. Talk to us about what are the sales rep basics. And there is no paywall, by the way. I was just joking. So like, just spill the sauce. Like maybe it's basics on sales process. Maybe it's basics on taking care of yourself. Like what are the basics? Let's say the audience is sitting here and they're like, I got my pen ready. Like, what do I do?
One thing to also understand is, yes, there's basics, but you have to tailor certain things to your team. So, for instance, one of the things that gets overlooked often is, as a sales manager, understanding what your team as an individual, like as an individual person, what do they want? Why are they here? Obviously money, of course, but like there's something behind that. And as any good sales rep knows, there's something behind the money always. I want to make more money. Great, but for what? For what reason? How do we attach emotion to it? And just like you're in a sale, you wouldn't just sell only on the fact that they're going to make more money. You have to go further down that pathway. So for your team, understand them, like get to know them. The best fucking sales managers are the ones who are like, they know the person, they know the team really well. You don't have to be best buddies, but you have to like have a relationship where they actually trust you and they want to come to you, they want to talk to you, and they know that you know about them and that you care. One thing I'll say about Yegor, who's technically my manager, he's like director of fulfillment. His leadership style, for all, because we're all still sales reps to a degree, like the account manager, we still do sales and we're all salespeople at our core. The way he manages the team is like it truly is a family. I know that's cheesy to say, but it's got this element of like, we can do and say and be whatever we want, and we're so free, but it's still high performance to the max. And there's no exceptions on like missing your projections. There's no slacking allowed. And if you're late to meetings, if you're not giving it 110%, you're fucking out. And like everybody knows that. But it's still the most fun group environment you could possibly imagine. It reminds me a lot of like the early days of Sniper, where you're excited to get on the team meeting in the morning. If you can build that culture with your team, they're going to stick with you forever and they're going to perform at the highest level. Because the last thing you want is your team dreading meetings. If they have to get on a morning meeting and they're like slugging in and they're late and they're just pissed off that they're there and they'd rather, like, this is the biggest red flag. If you hear even a whisper of anyone on your team saying, man, I would rather use this team meeting time to just go close deals, you're fucked. Like, you have to fix that. It's like something's already broken. And you're like, you have to turn that around. And I remember specifically this happening at Sales Sniper. Like, there was a couple guys that were like, I don't even want to be on the meetings. I'd rather just use this time to close. And I was like, we're kind of fucked. And it obviously was able to get turned around, but it's a really tough position to be in. And so for any sales manager out there, that's a red flag. When your team would rather use team meeting time to do their job to go close, you're fucked. Because that's where culture is built. It's built on meetings. It's built in person. It's built when everybody's together. But without culture, your team's going to fall apart.
So I would say that I would like to think that I've got a pretty good culture, but I'm still very early on. And admittedly, I probably haven't done the best job, and I've enabled certain habits, and I've probably allowed certain things to continue and maybe not shown up to be that 100% rock star for him. I think I'm doing okay on it, but that's actually super relevant for me. So what is it that it takes to get someone excited for the meetings? And obviously that's probably a loaded question, but what are some of the first things that come to mind when you're thinking about organizing a culture, or maybe with the culture you guys have? Like, why is it that you look forward to it, and why is it that you love the culture?
Yeah, I mean, you can go deep down this rabbit hole. One of the main things is they have to be excited about the direction the team is going. Like, there has to be a clear vision. And it's funny, people talk about having a mission, vision, and values in their business, and everybody kind of scoffs at it because, like, whatever, kind of dumb. But, and Cole will be the first one to tell you this too, that's so crucial in a company to have, because that's how everybody knows they're rowing the same direction. And it gives people a sense of being a part of something bigger than themselves, which, especially for the lone wolf sales rep type people, it's actually really important. Because think about it, if you have a lone wolf sales rep and they're not bought into your mission, then it's all for one. Like, they're there for themselves. In the moment there's a better opportunity, quote unquote, it may not be better, but in their eyes, right, shiny object syndrome, they might think it's better. They're going to jump ship immediately. And so when you have a culture, and this is what keeps all the account managers here, we're all really fucking good at what we do. We could go make arguably more money running our own businesses or doing our own consulting.
Absolutely. I honestly think through like, why isn't someone like you the head of something? You know, like that's a
Yeah.
great thing. So, the takeaway is mission, vision, and values, how important it is. I think early on, maybe it's like when you have a startup company, you might not even be clear yourself if you're the founder on like mission, vision, and values. But what types of mission, vision, and values are you guys using that keeps everyone on that same boat that keeps rowing and retained?
So having a clear like core set of values is important. And
Can you share some of the ones that you guys
yeah,
have?
yeah. So at Closers, we have a couple core values, and I honestly, you could steal them. Like,
Well, I'll tell you the ones that I had at PGA. It was extreme ownership,
yeah.
championship energy, and relentless tempo. We had emojis for each of them.
What do those mean for you guys?
Yeah, great question. So extreme ownership, we used a brick emoji, and it's just like you just fucking own the thing, and everything is 100% your responsibility. And if you come across a problem that you can generate a solution on, do it, and then that'll be rewarded, and kudos will be given to that type of person. And if you're not taking ownership, you're out. So that's a big one. And for me, over the 22 months that I was with the company, 2 years you could call it, that shaped how I look at the entire world. And now I'm trying to teach ownership to my sales reps, especially my top rep right now. He's my best friend and he's my roommate back in Charlotte. I'm trying to get him to embody and live out this idea of extreme ownership. And it's just like everything is 100% your responsibility. Doesn't mean it's your fault, but it is your responsibility though. And if you live by that, it's actually liberating because that means you're in control of everything. And so that's a big one. The other one was championship energy, and the emoji was a Lakers championship ring. And it's just like, man, we're just here to fucking win. We're not doing kumbaya. We're not here to be doing the campfire song. Like, yeah, we can be friends, but we're athletes on a team and we're here to win. And so unless you're passing the ball, alley-ooping it, or dunking it, like that sideline conversation stuff, you can save that. Go do that after work, man. We're here to win. And that's what we're doing when we're clocking in. So that's a huge one. And we all just set the standard, and it's so fun. Like you said, man, it's just so fun when there's A players passing the ball, dunking it down. You can rely on them. You count on somebody to do it. They're actually going to do the thing. They throw it back to you. You do it. You execute, and then it just works, right? And it's just so fun. And the other one was relentless tempo. Take action. Just take action. If you think the email's good enough, yeah, maybe ask someone to proofread it, but just fucking send it. And then maybe the next one we can improve afterwards. But just take the action first. And we move at what most people get done in a month, we get done in a week. And what most people get done in a week, we get done in a day. That was kind of like the philosophy. Like we want to operate at such a high tempo. We don't do end of week. It's end of day mentality. Get it done today. End of hour. End of the minute. Whatever. And so that's also something that I've tried to carry with me to the different types of organizations that I'm a part of now and that I will be a part of eventually, and that I'm building for myself or whatever. Just move at a faster pace. I'll give another example that has nothing to do with coaching programs. Have you ever worked at a restaurant?
Yeah, I was spent a lot of time in the restaurant industry.
So I was a server before I got into the sales space, or I was selling plates, at Olive Garden at the time, but I was a server first.
Selling unlimited breadsticks.
That's right. And not the best product. It was great, but not, go sell something more expensive. But you probably know the guy that'll come to mind. And for me, when I worked at a restaurant before that, there was this guy named Jose. There's somebody in the organization that is more grateful to be there. It means more to him and he respects the opportunity more.
Mm-hmm.
And he simply executes twice, 3, 5, 10 times faster. And you see this guy and you're like, man, he just is on point. And that's what relentless tempo really means. Like, think of the guy who's in the kitchen that's just out doing it.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody knows it. And he's just setting the standard. And it's not even expected that other people would do as half as much because he's just got it. It's like, what is that Pareto thing where 80% of the work is done by 20% of the people?
Pareto
whatever.
principle.
Yeah. So it's like relentless tempo means become that person.
Yeah.
And if we can all achieve a higher pace and a faster pace, things are just going to be better. They're going to be funner. We're going to get to the mission faster. It's just better feedback loops.
I love that, dude. I love the relentless tempo. I might steal that. It's very similar to something
That was
that's
Dickey and Cole, by the way. That's them. So
nice.
I took it from them. And since one other cool part is since before I left, they actually changed the values to peaceful iteration instead of relentless tempo. So it's peaceful iteration, and it's like we don't move fast and break things anymore. We're iterating peacefully. And then instead of extreme ownership, it was setting the standard or something like just the Michelin star, and they upgraded that one. And then the championship energy was upgraded to dynasty energy because now it's not a startup anymore. They're building like a dynasty, and it's the Michael Jordan 6 rings emoji.
Hard.
It's fucking legendary. Sorry if I'm giving away intellectual property here, but I took these values very seriously, and I think that now that I'm reflecting more and more, I don't have my own sales team core values, so that's going to be my homework right away. But yeah, that was kind of the playbook that we used, and it really, really helped keep things aligned, and it gave me a filter to make decisions through. And I think it was so imperative that that existed. So yeah, if you're open to sharing some of the values you guys have, like, we'd love to see.
Yeah, one thing I'll say is when you were sharing about relentless tempo, it reminded me of something I used to say, and I haven't said it in a while, and I'm really glad you said this because it brought it up, and now it reminded me of it. But I used to say, are we tomorrow people or are we today people?
Oh,
Because so often I would hear like, oh, this is perfect, man. I'm going to take care of that tomorrow. Well, are you a tomorrow person or are you a today person? Why put it off? And yeah, so I'm really grateful you brought that up because that was like a mentality that I really enjoyed that I haven't said the phrase in a long time. So I'm glad it's back. Thank you.
It's back today, not tomorrow.
It's back today, not tomorrow. It might be back yesterday if you're lucky.
That's right.
So the culture, the values at Closers, I really like them. We've made some shifts to them recently as well, but basically it is get and stay in sync.
Get and stay.
Get and stay in sync, meaning you got to be in sync with the other departments. You got to be in sync with the people in your department. You got to be in sync with your clients. And if you're having to ask questions to catch up, you're already out of sync. It's like you have to be on the same page always. So like, what are they doing? Do you know what they're doing? Why are they doing it? The whole team has to be rowing the same direction and like locked in. So get and stay in sync is one. Radical candor is the other, which is just brutal honesty. Like not from a place of being a dick. We're all improving. And
Yeah, so
you're not going to just let shit fly, no matter what your ranking is. Like a janitor can tell the CEO, hey, you're fucking up, but like in a loving, peaceful way, obviously.
I'd love to understand because that's like a Hormozy, like I think they have that as at acquisition.com. It's sincere candor, I think that's what they call it. Could you maybe, obviously the janitor telling the CEO something, could you maybe give me like a specific example, or like could you maybe radical candor me? Like, because I think that there might be a disconnect for someone who hasn't really studied that. There's a great book that I can't remember the name of, but it's something like Radical Candor, or it might be called that. But maybe give me an example of you doing that, or someone having done that to you and it actually going well.
Examples might be hard to pull out of my brain right now, but there have been cases of, and because this kind of stuff happens all the time. Like, I mean, obviously Cole is a head honcho, but so often, whether it's account managers or recruiters or someone else on some kind of leadership team, will definitely tell Cole, hey, I see some issues with this, or like, hey, the way you operated in this way, like, wasn't really helpful for the greater good of the company. Or
And is that done like just like in the public Slack forum or what?
No, definitely not in public Slack. My philosophy is this: praise is public, and candor should be a little bit more private.
Okay.
Like you kind of, if I have to tell you something, if you piss me off, or if, you did something that I don't think was the right move, I'm not going to embarrass you in front of everybody or start drama in front of everybody. That's a private thing. That's a man to man or woman to man or woman to woman, whatever. Like that's a private conversation. And yeah, I wouldn't want to escalate that. But praise, kudos, 100%. That's public. Like, let the world know, shout from the mountaintops that Tristan's the fucking man, and he did this flawlessly, and he did a great job.
Yeah, one thing we just started doing in Slack, there's this function that I didn't know existed until like 2 weeks ago. It's called tacos, and it's like built into the Slack software where you can give tacos, and then like it's like you get 5 tacos a day to give away. And we're just slinging tacos in Slack now. Like
that's awesome.
It's funny as hell. So it's a lot of fun. So praise in public, punish in private, quote unquote. Just give that candor back in private. Hey man, I noticed how when you were doing XYZ, like it didn't really align well, and I just want to be direct about how we kind of
Yeah.
felt about it. That's kind of like an example of
Yeah.
someone to the side.
I'll give you, okay, so I remembered an example that happened like a week or two ago. On one of our group call, we were on like a group call, and one of the guys that was running the group call had said something um, about one of the clients and didn't mean anything malicious, obviously, like came from a place of trying to help them with their ads. Basically was saying like, hey, this person might have a reputation. You should check that out. Like that could be harming the effects of the ad. Like that could be harming the performance of the ads. He mistook the guy for somebody else. And then that dude got pissed off, ended up like becoming this whole thing. And
I got pissed off.
yeah, because he was told, like, his team got told that that guy might have a bad reputation. So, like, of course he's going to be upset.
Yeah.
And then it ended up becoming this whole thing, which I'm not going to share here, but it was like, became a whole fucking mess. And yeah, so I had to like privately go tell this guy on our team, hey, this is what happened. Guy's upset. And then we had like a little like back and forth, and he took it so gracefully. He was like, man, I'm really sorry I fucked it up, blah, blah, blah. And like we got it obviously resolved. But that's an example of radical candor. It's like you could sweep it under the rug and like try to handle it yourself. But if you just share, like that person's going to learn. And now that person has a better understanding of maybe, and I gave a little coaching, like, hey, this is how you could have said that
Mm-hmm.
to maybe not induce this whole fucking scenario.
Have you ran into people that, I guess because it's a value, it's very top of mind, it's very transparent, but like, have you ran into people that don't deal well with the candor?
Yeah, they don't last in the culture. That's why you have to have these really clear values, because if somebody's not in alignment with the values, then they don't belong in the culture. And if you don't have defined values, then how do you know if somebody's meeting them or not? So you have to have this shit written down. Everybody has to know what they are. And like we get quizzed on it basically. Like on our, we do a monthly team meeting, and sometimes you'll just get called on. They're like, hey, name a value. And you just have to name one. And they're like, what does it mean to you? Like, when was the last time utilized it? Whatever. So like you could get called at any time. You better know the fucking values.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, one of the where I was talking about Jose, the guy who works in the kitchen, it was this casual, like kind of like Chick-fil-A, but fresh chicken restaurant called PDQ. And I became a cashier, like working in the front of house, and I then went around and learned all the departments, and I was like, I'm gonna be a fucking owner of this franchise or whatever. And they had a creed that was like a little handbook, and it had these values, and one of them was, have a great attitude, um, and on that note was like we leave our attitude at the door or something to that effect. And it was basically like whatever's happening outside of work, just leave it at the door, come in. And then they had open door policy or whatever. And they had like a creed that we would get quizzed on. And so I found that I can't recall it and recite it off gate right now, but it was so helpful. It was so fucking helpful. And the people that paid attention to it guided my decisions at least. And then the people who didn't give a shit, then yeah, they didn't really last.
Mm-hmm.
So radical counter being a big one. Keeping staying
Yeah,
sane.
stay in sync, radical candor, pro athlete mentality, which is very similar to Angie Brewer's, which, and I've actually have a funny story about this one, which I'll tell you in a second. And then the fourth one is have fun. Have fun. Super important. And at our last team meeting, like team offsite, where the whole company meets up, we went to Scottsdale, and we did this, I think it was James Bond themed casino night. So everybody's like black tied, dressed up, super nice. And it's James Bond, so I'm going to drink martinis the whole night. That was my drink of choice. I'm just drinking straight gin martinis, ripping gin martinis nonstop. And we're giving out like awards and stuff. And I ended up winning the award for Have Fun. Shout out. I stole it from Aaron Martinez.
There we go.
He was the reigning champion.
Sorry, Aaron.
Took it. Sorry, Aaron, but it's my award now. And before this, we're like, Cole and some of the leadership team, they're up there. They're like talking about the different values, and kind of, like I said, calling on people like, hey, what does this value mean to you? And I think Cole knew he was going to give me the Have Fun award. So then he had to like ask me beforehand, hey, pro athlete mentality, what does that mean to you? And I'm standing there. We're all like standing around on this rooftop, and I'm holding my martini. And at this point, I'm pretty drunk. And so he asked me, what does pro athlete mentality mean to me? And I rambled the dumbest thing I've ever rambled. I don't even know what it was, but I was just straight bullshitting. I was caught so off guard. And like, usually I'd be able to answer this, but for some reason, the right amount of martinis in my body. And we also just had been all day riding ATVs, doing like a scavenger hunt. Like my body was just wrecked. And I just rambled the dumbest shit I've ever rambled. And it made zero sense. And Yegor and I have this joke about like, I'm really good at bullshitting. And I'll bullshit my way through pretty much anything. And I finished this dumb rant that should have ended, and then I just kept going. You ever do that where you know you need to stop talking?
Yeah.
You're like, oh, that wasn't good enough. I have to keep going, but then you
Let me
just get
double it.
worse. Yeah, I'm gonna double down on it,
Triple it.
triple down. And so I just kept going, and I talked way too long, just rambling nonsense. And then I stop, and everybody claps. Like I got like an ovation, and I'm like, what the fuck is that?
Yeah.
And I don't know if it was sarcastic clapping or what, because I definitely did not deserve it. And then I just look over at Yegor, and he looks at me, and I just go, and just mouth the word.
Yeah.
And he goes, that's bullshit, too. And then I won an award for having fun. So I think we're
having fun.
having fun in the moment.
Bradley would tell you that's fucking hilarious, dude. Oh man. Well, let me ask. I mean, concisely, what is pro athlete mentality?
Where's my martini, dude?
Right.
So pro athlete mentality, the way I look at it is, you're like kind of like we talked about, you're driving towards a goal, right? And there's a lot of ways you can look at pro athlete mentality. I think a lot of people actually have different interpretations for it. To me, it's the teamwork element. It, like, as a pro athlete, you may be there just for yourself, but odds are you're probably on a team and you're all working together to this as well. And you have this relentless drive. And like we talked about, sports is one of those things where if you have that skill set and you've been doing it long enough, like sales or business becomes not easier, but like you have the tools for it. And so when you're focused on the vision, you're focused on the goal, and you stop at nothing and you're just driving towards achieving that, that's how I see pro athlete mentality.
100%. I think it's like when we had championship energy, it's pretty similar.
Yeah, it's very similar to that.
Let's just win the fucking game. Like,
Yeah.
winning championships. We're there to win every game, but for this season, we're going for gold and we're going for the championship, right? So that's a huge one, man. And I think, like, yeah, if someone doesn't align with that and they're not an athlete, they don't belong.
Totally.
You know? So part of me is really just thinking through, like, how I need to create this for the new team that I've been building. And I'm going to really give this some deliberate thought, but those are really good values, you know? And, you know, having fun. I mean, what would you say to the person who, like you says, taking it super fucking serious, and they're just like, like it actually does the opposite.
Yeah.
Like, I just had one of my sales reps kind of go into, I kind of diagnosed a rut, and I was just like, dude, just have fucking fun with it. Like, just detach. Like, don't even worry about the fucking script, bro. Like, what would you say to those people who are maybe taking it too seriously and they're not getting the results that they're looking for?
It's like, why are you so serious? I get it, it's important, but
why so serious?
Yeah, I just play that scene from Batman for him. Being serious is important. There's a time and a place. You need to have a level of seriousness. But if you're not having fun, I personally don't see the point in it. Like, you're working really seriously to achieve a goal, then what happens when you get because think about it. What happens when you've ever achieved any goal in your life? Did you say, oh, perfect, I'm done now, and now I don't have to try?
Definitely not.
No, we're all go-getters, and as soon as we hit a goal, we need the next one. We're hyperachievers. Like, we want to get to the next thing. So if you're serious about getting to the goal and you're going to not have any fun, do you think you're going to suddenly have fun when you get to the goal? You're going to have the same attitude.
Probably
so
the worst time.
Probably going to be worse because now you have more shit to manage.
And you got let down because it didn't double.
Yeah. The dopamine is never as good when you get higher up. Like, the first time you get a nice-ish car, it's like dopamine is through the fucking roof. And eventually that goes away. You get another nice car and you're like, oh, I don't give a fuck anymore.
Mm-hmm. It's really interesting that you say that, because I think a lot about The Second Mountain, and there's a book that I forgot the fucking name of again, but there's a book called something like The Second Mountain, and basically that's why so many people that graduate
like the
college,
midlife crisis things that we're talking about,
something like that.
Yeah.
And basically you need to assign yourself a second goal before you achieve the first one. And part of me hearing you say that thought through, a lot of people think that eventually they'll get satisfied because they'll achieve the goal, but the goalpost always moves. But that's not a bad thing.
No.
That's just how the game works, because why would you want to stop climbing?
Yeah.
And so a lot of what I've been thinking through now is, like, who I'm climbing with. That's really important for me. And cultivating and curating a community and people like you. And part of the reason why I'm doing this is just to connect with awesome rock stars that I want to climb with. It's not actually obvious to me that there's anything else more important than that. Having fun along the way and not worrying too much about being so serious about hitting the finish line, because it's like, we're just going to find a new fucking goal. Unless you're just, I mean, even no one just stops unless they die. I mean, that's it. Like, we just keep playing.
And if you did die, wouldn't you want to have some fucking fun before you go?
That's right. Yeah.
To be honest, I personally, like, because you brought this up, I can't even think, I don't know, in like the last few years, I can't think of anybody who had that problem that I've met, who was like too serious and wasn't having any fun. Maybe I just blocked them out, like, and so the memory just doesn't
I think
exist
it
anymore.
probably,
But I never see them.
yeah, because they don't last.
Yeah,
And so
it's true.
I would say that they're probably at the beginning, like,
Yeah,
and then they phase out and they fizzle out and they wonder what the fuck happened. And it's because, man,
Yeah.
we're taking this way too fucking seriously.
and to get more woo woo with it too. Like if we were to talk about like manifesting and like creating the things you want,
Here we go.
yeah, we're getting deep, baby. Where's the acid? Let's drop some acid right now. Let's take some mushrooms. So you really like the trick to getting what you want is being grateful for what you have already, and then you get more of it, right? Like if you look at any like manifestation coach or whatever, the basis of it is gratitude.
Yep.
When you have the gratitude, you're going to attract more of that shit. And if you're thinking from a place of I have to achieve this and that, you're thinking from a place of lack, and it's very difficult to achieve it. Now you can grind your way through, and obviously some people do that, but you're going through the path of way more resistance. But if you're just grateful for the shit you have, you're going to be emitting this energy, whatever you want to call it, and you're going to get more of that thing. You're going to put yourself in positions where you can achieve that easily.
Yeah, and like, I think someone early on told me that money was the reason they say it's a currency is because it's a current and it has a flow.
Totally.
And people like, as I've rose up the ranks of the income milestones, whatever, I've probably done not a great job of keeping my lifestyle deflated. So my lifestyle is inflated, but I always like, I'll buy the dinner or I'll carry the check, and people are like, why are you so generous, man? And it's like, well, that's a funny thing to say, but I think it's because I just believe that I just have a fundamental belief that it'll come back to me, and for that reason it does. It's like I'll probably butcher this one too, but it's like, for those who have everything, more will be given, and for those who have nothing, everything will be taken. And I think it is that.
It's true.
It's like you just fucking cling on to this scarcity, and then because of that you don't get blessed with anything.
Yeah.
And the person that's winning, it's just like winners are going to win.
Yeah. And to tie it into the person that's taking things too serious, where does that seriousness come from? It's obviously not fun and gratitude. Like it's coming from a place of I don't have what I need, so I'm serious about achieving my goal, and I'm not going to have any fun along the way. And so how can you imagine getting that stuff if you're not going to enjoy the path and like have some gratitude for it? Like when you're grateful, when you're in a mood of gratitude, you're smiling, you're having fun, you're going to be playful.
Yeah.
If not, then you're going to be serious. You're going to be upset the whole time. And to your point, they're probably still at the beginning.
Yeah.
Because they can't get to the next level.
I think one of the biggest things is, for me, like cultivating like a delusional optimism. And some people go way in that direction, and I think it serves them. And I think, pessimists tend to be right, but optimists tend to win.
Yeah. You're 100% true. Yeah.
And Brian Ostermiller, I think that's his name, and Tyler Rockstars, Brian, he gave a talk at SalesCon this April, and it was about the maps of consciousness. Are you familiar?
The maps of consciousness.
Yeah. So it's
Enlighten me.
It's I don't want to fuck this up either. I think it's David Hawkins. He wrote this book called Letting Go, and then he wrote this book called The Maps of Consciousness or The Power of Consciousness or something. This is a graph, and it's basically like there's a frequency number, and it's like 1,000 all the way to 0, and I think it goes negative, or at least it goes to 0.
Oh, it's the emotions and then the frequency.
Yeah, and it's like bliss, joy, love, Buddha, and then it has like to the right of it, it's like this is where God is, and then it's like fucking Tony Robbins is probably right up there on 750 or whatever, and like there's anger, and then there's grief, and then there's humility, and then there's shame, and there's guilt, and it's like 0, and it's like you gotta check. And I thought it was so woo at the time. One of my best friends, Connor, put it on our fridge. He like brought it home and like stapled it on our fridge, and I was like, this is fucking bullshit.
Gay.
Yeah, this is fucking bullshit, dude. Like, and he's doing all these fucking like stick your arm out, and like if it wiggles, then you're out of 350, and I'm like, fuck you, man. And then like over time, I came around to the idea, and I've since then been really thinking about where my frequency is at. And it's important to recognize if you're on this scarcity, lack, taking it too seriously, like pride thing. I think it's pride. It's like you don't want to fuck up. You take yourself too seriously. Like you just gotta kind of zoom out and realize that that's happening, and then encourage yourself that nobody actually gives a fuck as much as you think they do. And for those new sales reps that I'm running into, they're all like, they're just trying to prove it so much. And I think what's happening is with these Instagram guys, like they're seeing these little clips and all these people claiming they make X amount per month, and they're thinking that they gotta be a trillionaire at 16 years old with a fucking Bugatti. Like, it's wild, man. And I want to kind of give those young folks that are watching like a reminder, like, hey, man, it's not. You could fuck up for like a decade, and you're still gonna be all right. And I was a little bit of a late bloomer too. Like, I didn't start pulling my head out of my ass until I was 24 ish, and it's just like, hey, man, just breathe,
Yeah.
So, dude, it's been an absolute ride. Thank you so much for coming on, man. We went a little over, and honestly, like, for those that are still with us, we're going on 2 hours. Your attention span, you're in the top 1%. So congratulations.
You don't have TikTok baby brain. Congrats.
Any final thoughts that you leave the audience with? Any parting statements or anything that you'd like to offer up? Because this is going to go to billions of people. We're estimating they're going to hear it.
It's a very good Trump. Billions and billions and billions. I'd actually like to ask you a question.
Sure.
If you didn't get into sales, what career path would you have gone, given your skill sets? Teacher. Why is that?
I think for a long time, I asked myself, what is my purpose on this planet? And from the age of 22, maybe 21 to 24-ish, I really wrestled with that question a lot. And I was like, what the fuck is my purpose? Like, and I was going through this quarter life crisis, if you will. And I think this is happening more and more with the younger guys. It's not a midlife anymore. It's quarter life. Because we've been exposed to so many data points and people and this technology that we have with social media, it's making things really strange. I was going through this quarter life crisis, and I was like, what the fuck, man? Like, and I did DMT, and I no joke, like, I'm not, let me think for a second how I should articulate this. I had a realization, and whether it was drug induced or not is irrelevant. I just imagined myself as this like beam of light. And that I just like, I'm gonna reenact this. So I'm like sitting there. Okay, let's fuck it. I'm going full.
Oh, send it, dude.
I'm sending it. Okay, so
give me the DMT reenaction.
I'm smoking weed in my car at my mom's apartment complex, and I'm just like, what the fuck am I doing? Like, I'm selling weed. I'm just not living in alignment, and I know that I'm being called to achieve more, and I'm just so behind, and I have this pang of anxiety that's like, bro, get it together. Like, you have work to do here and you are not doing it. And this voice that I'm hearing in my mind, I'm not going away. So either get right or I will go away. And so I fucking rip this DMT, and I just like, my head goes back, and I become a beam of light, like Jack and the Beanstalk, and I blast into the fucking stratosphere. And there's like these voices and these deities in my mind or whatever. And by the way, I believe in God, and I would consider myself a Christian for what it's worth, but I have done drugs a lot, and it helped some.
Being a Christian doesn't mean you can't do drugs.
Right. And so
in fact, you can meet God. Real Christians should do a lot of drugs, because then you get to meet your God.
Put the FTC, we're not making earnings claims, and we're not making advice, and we're not doing any recommendations, but
that is direct advice from Tony Haddad.
You're right. This is entertainment purposes only. So
this is financial advice.
This is financial advice. So I blast off, and there's this beam of light that comes out of me, and it's just like I'm sitting into the stratosphere, and I'm talking to these voices in my head or whatever, and they're like, "Hey, man, where you're trying to go, where we're trying to take you, you're not ready to go."
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, what the fuck does that mean, right? Let's bring it back down to reality. So I go through all these like iterations, and I'm starting to question everything, and I'm questioning my purpose, and I'm like, why am I here, man? And Patrick Bet David, I go to one of his conferences early on. I put it on my credit card. I'm like dead broke. I don't have $1 to my name, and I'm in debt. And I drive to this Vault conference, and I thought that the mastermind event came with like a hotel ticket, and it did. Wrong. Yeah. I was like, yeah. So where's my room at? And they're like, you tell me. I'm like, oh shit. And like, I'm dead broke, and I sleep under the Diplomat Hotel in Hollywood in my Honda Civic in the fucking valet park, and I pay the guy $40. I'm like, yo, I'm gonna stay with the car.
Yeah.
And so anyways, I'm thinking through my purpose. I don't know what's going on. I'm trying to seek mentorship, and I started running these marathons, and I did all these 100-mile races and stuff. And last year I ran the Moab 240.
Sick.
And read the David Goggins books and sent that for sure. But I say all that to say I came to this conclusion that and this happened before sales, but it really amplified within sales, that I want to help Well, the DMT thing, I was like, you're a light. I got told by God that you are a light and you were put here to elevate the frequency of everyone around you. It's like, okay, well, let me reduce my ego and make sure I'm not thinking I'm supposed to be some sort of, star or something, right? Because those two things are different. A light and a star are different. Now I just sound like a total fucking woo woo freak. But
Send it, dude.
I land on this equation of I want to help people go farther than they think that they can. It's like, okay, I can dig that. And it's like, okay, that's my purpose. That's what I'm here for. And so if I wasn't in sales, I wanted to be a teacher early on. And so part of this conflict that I have with becoming a sales guru is that I don't want to be a fucking guru. I want to run companies. I want to build real shit. But I do really love educating people, and I do love teaching, and I do love sharing, and I do love learning. I'm very curious. Like you said, the whole neuroscience brain thing, like I'm somewhere in that realm as well. So I would be a teacher. And I think that specifically, it would be something along the lines of psychology and like cognitive behavior and just belief systems. I'm very fascinated by belief systems and beliefs that we hold and why they're there in the first place and what we need to do about that. And so people are born and we're all basically just big fucking babies, and we're just like, now we have bigger clothes and we get these ideas and beliefs imprinted on us. And I come from somewhere that is not conducive to success. I didn't have it the worst, and there's plenty of people out there that had it worse, but I didn't have any frame of reference for what success looked like. I had more like the anti of that. And so I'm like, okay, this is what success doesn't look like. Let me go and try to do the opposite thing. But I luckily was able to somehow wander through and, slow my partying down and not do drugs and like get my shit together and get my head on straight and fly right. And through that, I had to break a ton of limiting beliefs. And that came from just questioning everything. Like, why? What? How? Like, why do we think that? Why do I need to believe that there's a fucking pandemic outside that's killing people when it's totally made up? And so I started questioning everything. And then I started questioning my own beliefs in a productive way, not in like a I'm naive way. I went through that too. And like, am I even who I say I am or whatever? But
you have to break down before you break through, of
yeah,
course.
that's right. And so long story short, question beliefs, break beliefs, and then reduce and remove limiting beliefs. And so I just took on my first student just to see if I even enjoyed like coaching a rep that wasn't on my team. I tried to attract him to my sales team, and it was part of like, hey, like kind of like the Matt Ryder thing, like I'll review your call, but then just, dude, bro, just come work for me. So I'm actively working on that, but I just helped him smash limiting beliefs, and I didn't do any formalized sales training or anything. But I just helped him increase his conviction on what he was doing. And I just checked all of his limits, and he would say something like, "Oh, I can't do 60K this weekend in cash collect." I'm like, "You can't, or you don't know how to." And it's like part of this end of the month push that I'm helping sales reps with is like this Michael Jordan like conviction based thing that I'm trying to formulate. Has nothing to do with skill set training, specifically to like sales process. It's just more about like raising the stakes, and so I want to help people understand that they can go way, way further. Like you said with the acting thing, like take it to 1 million, right? So it's something along those lines. But I'm still figuring it out. And yeah, to answer your question, I would be a teacher. Yeah, I'd be a teacher, bro. 8th grade math class.
That's awesome, dude. Yo, thank you for sharing that story. That was a fun ride, and it really gives me a lot of insight into your world and how you think and how you got to the point you're at now. So I really appreciate you sharing that, and because that can be a pretty vulnerable story, man.
Yeah, well, the DMT thing wasn't actually as big of a chunk of it. It's more like, if I had to zoom out a little bit more and just give some extra context, like, grew up from humble beginnings. I got arrested early on. Like, I went to jail when I was like 15 years old. A bunch of my friends got in some trouble, kind of wrong place, wrong time type of thing. And I really had to face the music quick. And so I had to grow up very fast.
Yeah.
And that happened. And then I had a friend who went on a weight loss journey. He started running marathons. He changed his life around. I was like, how can I support you? Then I got into running, and that's where I really started breaking my own limiting beliefs. And so I just want to do that for other people. And I do that right now through helping people invest into life-changing programs. And it's coaching specifically. Like, have you seen this, that a lot of high-ticket clothes are going to the insurance space?
Yeah.
Everybody's just going to the insurance space. I know that if I did, I'd fucking crush. I don't necessarily want to go sell life insurance, but
I got offered the same thing to go do insurance, and like, I don't believe in insurance. Like there's value to it. I don't even have insurance. Like I have car insurance because I legally have to. I don't have health insurance. I don't have any other type of insurance. Is that bad? Maybe. But like I'm not so bought into it. I can't go sell it.
Yeah.
But same, I would fucking crush. But I don't want to.
Yeah. For all you insurance guys, I love you to death. That's y'all's game, and continue playing it, and I'll support you from the sidelines. But for me specifically, I want to break limiting beliefs for people, and that usually comes in the form of helping them invest into a coaching program.
Mm-hmm.
And so as long as I align myself ethically, morally, and maybe spiritually, but ethically and morally most, with these awesome programs like the one I'm running right now, the Product Career Accelerator, we're helping people land these fucking rock star jobs, and they're making the best money ever, and we're really producing awesome results. I'm helping them go farther than they think they can. And a lot of the times that happens on the sales call. We're having to actively sell them into the person that they can become with the program.
That's all sales is, especially when you're selling coaching programs. It's transformation and giving someone the space so that they can believe in something bigger than themselves, that they can become something bigger than what they are.
Yeah.
And it's a real-time brain surgery.
Absolutely.
They're limiting beliefs.
I'm a real-time
change.
I'm a real-time transformation brain surgeon.
There you go.
That's what I am. And so I appreciate you asking that question, man. Thank you. The final thought I'll give on that is just like I didn't do well with sales because I had all these NEPQ reframes. I just fucking believe in people, and I'm grateful to be able to play the game. I think that we should give other people a chance to play the game, whether it's losing weight, dating, whatever, product management, business owners learning how to do content, like whatever the offer is. If you're selling a transformational program, get behind someone that's actually getting results, and if they're not, help them get results, or go get another company that's getting results, and just believe in what you sell and just have conviction, man. Like if I were to formulate some sort of methodology, it would be something like conviction-based closing. So yeah, man, we're going to continue.
Which is key. Yeah, and we could probably rant on this forever, but someone with conviction will outperform someone with skill set
10 out of
10, dude. It's
Done.
like their conviction is what sells. Skill set is useful. It's helpful. But yeah, without conviction, people are going to smell right through it and you're toast.
Absolutely, man. And like you said, being interested and actually fucking curious about the person, right? So it's like everybody wants to make commissions. It's how about you make change in another person, and then they'll pay you. And so just put that first, and then you'll make money.
Yeah, and then you're detached from the outcome of you making money, which is only going to stop you from making money.
Right, and it's like if someone asks me, like, you're such a good salesperson or whatever, it's like, yeah, man, perfectly, that's fine. Like, whether you buy this program or not, it's not going to change my life. I'm here for you. So how are we going to make this work? And we'll just run it through. So, dude, thank you so much.
Dude, thank you for having me on. This was fun. We ripped 2 hours. We hit the 2-hour mark just now.
Absolutely, bro. New podcast record for me.
Is it?
What's your longest pod?
That I've 2 hours. I've done 2.
2 in how many minutes?
Fuck, dude, you got me beat by maybe 1 minute.
Let's go.
Let's go.
PRs, baby. Projections. Smash those projections. Guys, if you enjoyed this, please, we'd like to create kind of a dialogue. So if you're still here with us, then you're probably fucking insane, but we're happy to have you. We would love to hear about what you might want more from Tony. He's ripping his own podcast, Two Fun Guys, right?
Two Fun Guys.
Let's go. I moved to Austin, so I'm here. I chose Austin over Miami. I love my Miami folks. I'll come see you because I can jump on a plane whenever I want, but ATX is the new home, man.
Hell yeah. You made the right choice.
I'm so excited, man. I can't wait to have you on, and if you want to hear more from Tony, anything else that we can cover, we might just do it again. So I appreciate you, brother.